the anime begins with a mother placing her son in front of the gate of a church when it rains heavily, accompanied by lightning. She prays for her son so that he becomes a strong child because he is his mother's only hope. Now, the baby boy has grown up and become a handsome young man. His name is Sai Akuto. That morning, Akuto was at the bus stop to go to school. He accidentally saw an old woman whose suitcase fell apart, and he offered to help her. Not long after, her granddaughter came and immediately attacked Akuto. She thought that he had bad intentions toward her grandmother. After she knew the truth, she apologized to him. After that, the woman introduced herself as Hattori Junko, a Magic Academy student. It turned out that the two of them went to the same school. The difference was that Akuto was a new transfer student. Soon afterward, they both said goodbye to the grandmother to go to school together. On the bus, Akuto said he wanted to become a high priest to uphold virtue and justice. Junko was very supportive of his noble ideals. She explains that she comes from the Suhara family, which has been in charge of protecting the empire for generations. Since they had the same mission, they both swore friendship. If they betray the principles that have been made together, they will kill each other. Arriving at school, Junko says that her grade is 1A. Unbeknownst to them, a female teacher named Tori Mitsuko observes Akuto using her sophisticated glasses to identify new students. She is a doctor as well as a magical researcher at the academy. Shortly afterward, the new students were asked to line up. After that, an artificial spirit named Yata Garasu appears, who will check their physical condition. Tori explained that Garasu had never made a mistake while doing his job. The first disciple to be examined was a man named Yuyanri. Yata Garasu said her physical condition is good, and her future job is in the army. Long story short, it was Akuto's turn to be examined. His good health and his future job are Mao. Knowing this, all the disciples who heard it were terrified because he would become a demon lord. Akuto asked 3 times again, but Garasu's answer was still Mao. Told 100 years ago, there was a war that created chaos in the world. Someone had led an army of demons that caused the world to fall apart, and that person called himself the Mao. Akuto still can't believe that his future will become a demon lord. After the examination was over, Tori took Akuto for a walk around their school while talking. She said that he would be seen as a special case and a nightmare of discrimination from other students at the school. Maybe there would even be someone who wanted to kill him. Tori said that if Akuto died, she would revive him as a zombie, and she would analyze him as a born Mao. This will be an achievement and will be remembered throughout history. Arriving in class, Akuto found out he was in the same class as Junko, but the whole class was boisterous for fear of his presence. He said to not judge him before getting to know him because that would be discrimination. Prediction is only a vision of the future, so he is actively practicing and changing his destiny. Hearing that, his friends said his speech was the same as Mao's 100 years ago. Shortly afterward, Tori held a class president election whose candidates were Junko and Akuto. The two of them were asked to have a power struggle to determine this. Actually, Akuto didn't want to be class president and fight, but because Junko attacked him, he fought back. When the power of the two of them was out of control, Tori immediately made a protective arena. But Akuto's power grew uncontrollable until it penetrated the barrier and destroyed the class. After that, they returned to their respective dormitories. Not long after, a male student named Miwa was happy to be in the same dorm as Akuto and praised him for being very cool. But Akuto ignored him and asked Miwa to take him to the girls' dormitory to meet Junko. Arriving there, Akuto knocked on Junko's bedroom window so that all the students in the female dormitory looked at him from behind their respective bedroom windows. Knowing this, Junko felt embarrassed and angry and chased him into the forest behind the school. Arriving in the forest, a woman named Soga hugged Akuto to protect him from Junko's attack. Without realizing it, Akuto issued his strength until a huge explosion occurred in the forest. Not long after, a woman from the portal appeared who was assigned to be Akuto's supervisor. Her name is Korone. Korone said that 3 minutes ago, she was sent by God Macht as his supervisor. She was going to interrogate Akuto regarding the incident and asked the principal to attend. Hearing this, Soga was afraid of being punished by the principal. She decided to disappear and only left her uniform. Korone knew Soga. She is known to be a student who was absent on the first day of school and has a unique ability. The next day, Akuto and Korone meet Tori and the principal. Korone explained that Akuto had no intention of hurting Junko. It turned out that Korone could analyze a person's emotions, so Akuto didn't have to say anything, but she could represent him to speak. Unexpectedly, the headmaster laughed happily because there was a Mao who was an incarnation of a demon who would become his student. Korone explained that she would watch Akuto 24 hours a day. In the school hallway, Tori met Akuto and explained that all they were doing was to protect him because someone might want to kill him. Akuto admitted that he could not control his strength. At first, he just wanted to make a small attack, but what came out was a powerful attack. Before parting ways, Tori gave him the student manual. The book could be used to communicate with other students just by thinking about it. From that book as well, Akuto learned that gossip about him spread quickly. When Akuto was about to enter class, a woman named Edo Fujiko, the head of the female dormitory, was blocking him. She still couldn't believe that Akuto would become a Mao in the future, but she offered that she was ready to help him if there was a problem. Afterward, Korone faithfully accompanies Akuto in class, but the other students think she is one of Akuto's victims. Even when Akuto entered the men's room, Korone faithfully waited for him in front of the cubicle door. While in the toilet, Akuto secretly called Fujiko. He asks her for help so he can apologize to Junko. She was willing to help, on the condition that he would go to the forest behind the school alone without Korone. She tells how to deactivate Korone, namely by pulling her tail. On the way to the forest, Akuto kept looking at Korone's buttocks to find the position of her tail around her buttocks. Realizing this, she was angry and judged that it was impolite. After a while, he finally managed to find her tail. Soon after, Korone detected an impending disturbance. Sure enough, a dog demon appeared from the top of the hill. As the dog roared, she tried to shoot it, but the bullet shattered into the dog's teeth and had no effect. Akuto immediately jumped at the dog and dangled from its fur, emitting his strength. Instantly, the dog demon turned into a cute little dog. Korone said no magician had ever done that before. Soon, a voice came from behind the bushes. It turns out that the dog sniffed Soga's whereabouts, and then she disappeared when she was caught. Korone noticed that Soga's bag was near the bushes. As Korone bent down to pick it up, at the same time, Akuto pulled her tail and temporarily killed her. Not long after, Fujiko appeared and wanted to help him. Besides that, she asked Akuto to join the disciplinary committee. His job is to ensure the students have complied with the school rules. After that, she gave a magic medicine, which can create a feeling of mutual understanding with each other. The trick is to put the drug in a gun and then aim the shot at Junko and himself to activate the effect. After Fujiko left, Akuto pulled Korone's tail back until she came to her senses. At night, Fujiko runs the action. She called Junko and said that Akuto wanted to meet her alone. Unexpectedly, Junko agreed, while Fujiko smiled evilly because she could make a profit without any effort. The jar man, an undead named Oni, slightly warned his little sister to be careful, but Fujiko said that soon Mao would become her personal slave. In the past, Fujiko and Oni were very close until he died due to something that she is still investigating. After that incident, she turned into an evil woman. On the other hand, Miwa and Akuto were taking a warm bath together. Miwa says that there is a group of ordinary students in their school and is on the public side. They are part of the underground movement, which studies black magic and uses it for evil. Therefore, Junko began to hunt those people because she had a strong sense of justice as the general chairman. After that, Fujiko called Akuto, informed him that she had arranged his meeting with Junko. They will meet tomorrow, after school, in the old barracks, 3rd floor downstairs. The next day, the school was in uproar because the student council members announced that Akuto was on the disciplinary committee. They assumed that it will be the beginning of the destruction of their school. Knowing the commotion, Fujiko smiled evilly. After school, Akuto prepared the magic medicine to be inserted into the gun given by Fujiko while trying to deactivate Korone. While carrying out the action, Soga suddenly knocked on Akuto's window. She came to give him rice crackers and a rice cooker which she would leave for a while. On the other hand, Akuto felt uneasy because the meeting time with Junko was about to arrive, but he had not succeeded in deactivating Korone. He continued looking for opportunities to deactivate her, and after a while, he finally succeeded. Akuto immediately left for the meeting place. After that, he said to himself, originally, this school was a war facility that was used during the war 100 years ago. Now, he is in a stuffy barracks room. While Akuto was looking for Junko's whereabouts, suddenly, a male student hit him from behind. Shortly afterward, another male student came to surround him, saying he was very weak as a Mao. Just as one of the students was about to attack him again, a force emerged from his body that made the student electrocute. After that, Akuto got up and killed all the male students. Not long after, Junko came and saw the incident. She accuses Akuto of planning to take over the world by killing school students who Garasu predicts will have high-ranking jobs in the future. Soon after, Akuto took out his gun. But when he was about to fire it at Junko, the gun was empty. Unbeknownst to Akuto, Fujiko monitored him through the magic crystal ball from her room. Oni asked what the use of magic medicine is. She explains that the drug makes them love and swear allegiance to her. After that incident, Tori called Akuto to meet her. She tells him that Junko told her she would thwart his plans to take over the world. Meanwhile, outside the school, it seemed that the students had gathered to fight Akuto. Miwa also came to help him, but he refused and chose to run away from the students rather than having to fight them. Unexpectedly, Junko managed to find Akuto on the school balcony. As the two faced off, she launched her sword to attack him. Suddenly, Soga came and said she had known Akuto for a long time. She said that Akuto was a very good man. She also said that she knew that Junko liked Akuto because she had the power to read someone's mind, and every night Junko thought about him. Hearing this, she felt very embarrassed. After that, the other students arrived at the school balcony. After seeing the two of them together, the disciples were furious. They assumed that currently Junko and Akuto were already working together. As they were about to fight, Korone fired her gun and turned their attacks into grains of rice, just like Soga's dream. The students looked very happy. In Akuto's room, Korone started researching the content of the rice and found that it had medicinal properties. Soga was honest that she had dissolved the medicine in Akuto's room with water and mixed it with the rice. She also knows that the drug works to make two people get along. On the other hand, Korone, who had just finished analyzing, said that it was a type of black magic that could make Akuto swear allegiance to certain individuals. Simply dissolve, then the effect will last approximately half a day. And sure enough, due to the rain of rice, Fujiko was swarmed by her fans until it was difficult to move. The next day while practicing magic, Akuto paired up with Junko. He felt very happy because she was now not avoiding him. The aim of the training was to learn how to properly control mana. If the participant is careless and loses concentration, it could injure the participant's partner. Akuto also said that he would never hurt Junko. Hearing this, she blushed. After that, Akuto immediately threw the mana slowly and casually at Junko, but the mana exploded violently in midair. Luckily, there were no casualties in the incident. After that incident, Tori and Akuto chatted by the river. She suggested that he practice in a mental discipline room, such as Zen meditation, so there was nothing to worry about. Before going there, she also advised him to bring a water bottle and a waterproof bag. On the other hand, it looks like Fujiko is planning a plan. In addition, it is also revealed that Oni used to be a school ruin researcher until he found something that caused him to die. Korone accompanied Akuto to go to the mental discipline room. She explained that the door would be locked for 12 hours when he entered. Arriving inside, Akuto saw the package floating. It turned out to be Soga, who also entered the room. That night, Akuto was accompanied by Korone and Soga. As for Fujiko, it seemed that she was heading to the mental discipline room to use her illusion magic on Akuto. Suddenly, when Akuto leaned against the wall crumbled slightly, and inside was a map. Turns out it wasn't a school map. On the map, it was written that treasure would appear once the 3 keys were found, and those who did not deserve it would receive death. Soga is very excited to see the map. She believes the pirates have spent the rest of their lives collecting and hiding the treasure in their school. When Akuto started meditating, Soga kept calling him. Apparently, she wanted to pee. Akuto had just realized what Tori meant by telling him to bring a waterproof bag. He gave the bag to Soga, but she refused because she was not used to peeing in a bag. On the other hand, Korone said that she wanted to drink her urine as an experiment to convert it into internal energy. Outside the room, Fujiko was already preparing to shoot Akuto, but she was surprised when she heard Soga scream from inside, who kept banging on the door because she wanted to go out to find the toilet. Akuto opened his school rulebook to contact other friends, but Korone asked why he didn't ask the people outside for help since she detected another source of mana around the door. On the other hand, Fujiko confidently assumed that if the door opened, Akuto would hug her. But when the door opened, she was pushed by Soga, who had been holding P back. Fujiko felt confused, but her eyes were drawn to a map that had fallen below. She immediately took the map, then left. Meanwhile, Junko gets a secret message that says that a member of Teruya's family has started to move. Elsewhere, Fujiko showed the map to Oni, but he didn't remember the map, because before he died, Oni decided to erase all his memories. She felt annoyed, even though the writing on the map was his writing. The anime continues by showing Fujiko daydreaming in the school hallway. Suddenly, she was approached by a female student named Teruya Eiko. She mocked Fujiko for failing to subdue Akuto. When Fujiko entered the classroom, she was surprised by the map's appearance, which was shown on a large screen so that all students could see it. Not only that, map sheets that have been reproduced appear to be pasted on every school wall. At first, Fujiko thought Akuto was the culprit, but it turned out that Soga was the one who had pasted the map while humming. Excitedly, Soga said she had provided information to the students who wanted adventurers to search for pirate treasures in their school. While studying, the students were surprised by the arrival of several students who were victims of the map. They said that a monster had attacked them. After that, the female student council president, Lily Shiroishi, asked Akuto to announce the prohibition of searching for treasure to all students. He immediately obeyed her orders, but all the students were against him. Not long after, Eiko came and asked Akuto to check it himself for the correctness of the map. The students agreed to prove that the map wasn't a trap set up by him. Knowing Akuto was about to leave, Fujiko walked up to him and gave a magic spell gun to him. Even though his mana is lacking, the gun can help him when fighting. After that, she turned the gun into a small capsule so that it was easier for him to carry. Finally, Akuto left with Eiko, Korone, and Miwa. While on the trip, Korone examined the writing on the map, which was written for Yamato Buichiro. They traced the direction of the map to find his grave. It turns out that the map points to a place where many tombstones are piled and overlap, belonging to the soldiers who died in the last Great War. Surprisingly, Korone even found some new bullets used in a shootout. Soon afterward, Akuto instructed them to look for the tombstone named Yamato Buichiro, as written on the map. While Akuto was arguing with Eiko, he suddenly pulled out the magic gun that Fujiko had given him. Eiko thought he would shoot her, even though he pointed the gun at her back because a mysterious creature appeared. Akuto told them all to go home and forget everything. In the girls' dorm, Junko wakes Soga to ask where Akuto is. She said that Akuto went with Teruya Eiko. Hearing this, Junko immediately jumped from her bedroom window to look for him. In the middle of the forest, Eiko tried to attack the creature but was unsuccessful until she lay limp on the ground. Akuto then shot the creature until it turned into a collection of bats. Seeing this, she got up and hugged him until he fell right in front of Yamato Buichiro's grave. After that, Akuto looked for something in his tomb. He finds a walkie-talkie in the shape of a small doll, which Fujiko and Oni had when they were children. When the doll was pressed, a recording sounded. After the three gathered, the shelf behind the night equipment research facility played the sound. Korone thinks it is a kind of language that controls artificial intelligence. On the other hand, Fujiko watched their movement through her magic crystal ball. Oni remembers that the doll was used by him and Fujiko to send messages. She was annoyed that he only remembered a few things and forgot about the map. Not long after, Soga came to Fujiko's room without permission. She saw a crystal ball in which it appeared that Akuto was. After that, she asked Fujiko to look for him so that Fujiko could find out about her older brother. Hearing this, Fujiko was surprised because she had never told Soga before. In the middle of the forest, Junko ran as fast as possible to find Akuto's whereabouts, but she fell into a hole. Meanwhile, Akuto and his three friends explored the dead city until they arrived at the night equipment research facility room. As they entered, Miwa sensed that the armor there could move, but Akuto denied it. Not long after, one of the armors moved and attacked Akuto. He immediately took out his gun to attack the armor, but it didn't work. Miwa tried to help him but to no avail. In the end, he blocked the Iron Axe's attack using only 2 of his fingers. Inside, Eiko finds a gadget in the form of a tab, which directs them to head towards the limestone cave entrance. On the tab screen, there is a note said put your palm on the screen to scan and register. After that, they went to the cave. On the way, Korone tried to find the cave's whereabouts using a simple tool. She knew there was a legend about the illusion of a hot spring bath in the cave. Arriving at the cave, there really is a hot pool. They all took a bath while resting for a while. Not long after, Junko came. She immediately attacked Eiko, causing the two of them to fight. At the same time, Akuto saw that there was a temple. Suddenly, a wolf demon appeared from behind the shrine which bit him, but by itself, the demon fell to the ground. Eiko stopped her fight and decided to leave, throwing a key at Akuto. On the other hand, Fujiko and Soga came. She asked what they had just got. They gave her the keys, the tab, and the stuffed walkie-talkie. Suddenly a light appeared in the form of a magic circle for teleportation. They have now moved to a strange place, then Lily appears. She said that this was a game prepared by the student council members. It turned out that the gift was a kiss from her to Akuto. Seeing that, Junko was annoyed. However, Fujiko believed that the map was a real map. She left and ran into the building in front of them, throwing a grenade that produced thick smoke. Lily was worried because the building was the former headquarters of the Mao. Fujiko tried to insert the key into a device and scan her hand on the tab until the system was activated again. Shortly afterward, the dragon monster that had been sleeping for hundreds of years rose again. After that, the dragon figure showed a picture before Oni died. There was a yellow-haired man who said that Mao had been born. He wanted Oni to destroy him before Mao found the yellow-haired man. However, Oni refused and didn't want to follow the man's directions anymore. He tried to erase all his memories, then the man killed him. Seeing that picture, Fujiko burst into tears. On the other hand, Korone took Miwa away while Akuto prepared to fight against the dragon. After that, there was a fight between Akuto and the dragon. Although initially it was a draw, in the end, Akuto managed to defeat him. After that, the dragon introduced itself to Akuto as Peter Hassan. The name was a gift from his former master. The dragon allowed Akuto to change his name, as the dragon needed a new master since it had been resurrected. It explained that Akuto doesn't need to do anything to become a master. He just has to be willing to be called Mao by the dragon. The next day, Akuto and his friends went on vacation to a beach. Korone reminded him that Tori forbade him to come with them, but because Korone wanted to be in charge of Akuto, Tori let him come along. They stayed overnight, and Akuto shared a room with Korone. But somehow, she always teased him while in the room. The next morning, Korone woke Akuto up by teasing him again. he felt uncomfortable and chose to leave her through the portal in the drawer. It turned out that the portal took him to where the dragon was. Arriving there, Akuto saw Soga sleeping on his body. The dragon said she was the first human to dare touch it without fear. Soon after, Korone followed Akuto to look for him and bring him back to the beach. They look happy vacationing on the beach together. Miwa remembers when he checked on Garasu, who said his future job was to be a hero or Yusa. After that, he told Akuto about the legend of the Mao on the beach. He said that Tori had forbidden Akuto to go to the beach. But when Mao is reborn, the devil in the middle of the lake will appear, and one day a hero or Yusa will come who will defeat the demon and Mao. On the other hand, Fujiko was at the dragon's place. She said she was very ambitious to become the empress of the Mao and kept dreaming about it. Peter Hassan, who heard it, said that Akuto was not too ambitious for such a thing. Not long after, Lily came to meet Fujiko. She told the news that Cabinet Intelligence Magic Office or CIMO 8 and the Academy would protect Akuto from a group of criminals who would kill him. Besides that, they allow the dragon's existence. She explained that the higher-ups were currently instigating Korone to seduce Akuto and try to start a war. It is known that CIMO 8's Magic Intelligence Department are experts who gather information and anti-magic techniques. After Lily left, Fujiko wanted to contact Akuto, but his signal was weak. On the other hand, Akuto was looking for the whereabouts of Korone, who had just run away from him for no reason. Shortly after, Soga goes to Akuto to deliver a message from Fujiko that a group of evil people called Simon 5 are chasing him and are good at killing witches. At the same time, Korone appeared again, but suddenly someone shot her. After that, she said goodbye and entered the portal door. It turned out that Soga had found out that if Korone's mission to seduce Akuto failed, then she would be fired as supervisor. Not long after, a girl named Yukiko, who is Miwa's sister, comes. She asked Akuto if he was a Mao. He denied it, so she left crying. Finally, Soga and Miwa looked for Yukiko's whereabouts around the lake. He had told her the legend of the lake in front of them. Suddenly, there was an echo. Miwa said that this lake is part of the sea. There is an underwater cave that connects it to the sea. Then there is air trapped in the cave. There is an altar, a place where a small sword is stuck in a large rock, and only Yusa can draw the sword. Not long after a man's voice was heard, they immediately looked for him. It appears a man in white is raising a lake demon to destroy the village. Unintentionally, the man discovered Yukiko's whereabouts, so he took her away. After that, Miwa came to help her use mana energy, but his attacks had no effect. It turned out that the man could absorb mana's energy. Unfortunately, Miwa was defeated by him and drowned. That night, the man in white faced fought Akuto. The man waved his robes until there was a musical noise that made his body weaken. It was revealed that the sound could shake the human soul, so they couldn't use magic power when they heard the music noise. The man admitted that he did not want to kill him because he wanted Akuto to be blamed for the village's destruction due to the lake monster attack. On the other hand, Miwa had already drowned and was at the bottom of the lake. He suddenly woke up because he remembered Yukiko. He believes that his current self is still weak. One day he can be strong and become Yusa. He immediately went to the front of the sword altar at the bottom of the lake. Arriving in front of the sword, Miwa tried to take it from the stick. It turns out that he succeeded and instantly turned the sword into his watch, a special anti-magic system unit called D13, with the default activation command being Brave. When he mentions the word Brave, the system functions as a transfer of a very sophisticated body unit. On the other hand, Akuto said that he knew what was called noise. The voice came from the man's soul scream, which meant that if his soul screamed louder, he could move freely without any problems. After that, the man threw fire mana at his companions, but they were able to survive because Korone appeared in an anti-flame cloak. She said the man was a rebellious member of the Ministry of Magic Intelligence, CIMO 8. After that, she attacked the man until he lost. Shortly afterward, Akuto and friends headed for the village, which was now being attacked by the lake demon earlier. When they got there, they saw a light fly. It turned out to be Miwa, who has now turned into a Brave. He takes advantage of advanced features such as nuclear bombs and high-temperature plasma balls until the lake monster in the form of sea cucumbers is instantly annihilated. Afterward, Brave shook hands with Akuto and left. Shortly after, Miwa came to where Akuto was. Yukiko said that they were saved by Brave. The next day, Korone said that the ministry did not know that CIMO 8 was about to stage a coup. After that, she asked Akuto to marry Junko. Hearing that, Junko blushed while Akuto was confused. While at school, Akuto told Miwa he wanted to create a better world. He wants to be a priest, but he thought Akuto's words were the same as Mao's speech 100 years ago. After that, Akuto met Soga in the park and invited her to join the class, but she suddenly disappeared and left her clothes. On the other hand, Fujiko was casting magic so that the eggs she got from the cave where the dragon could hatch quickly. She waited a very long time until she fell asleep. Not long after, the egg floated. It turned out that the invisible Soga was taking the egg. She brought the egg to Akuto to eat with the rice cooked by Korone. As they were about to cook the egg, Miwa told him it was a magic egg. At night, the egg enlarges to giant size. Akuto touched the egg, and suddenly, the egg hatched instantly. They were surprised because the animal that came out of the egg was a two-headed chicken. Just as Korone was about to attack him, Fujiko came and said she had prepared the animal for Akuto. Unexpectedly, the two-headed chicken instead attacked Fujiko and fled somewhere. After that, Miwa went away and turned himself into a brave and immediately looked for the chicken's whereabouts. In the middle of the city, a woman named Hishino Yuri is hosting a live program and is surprised by the appearance of the two-headed chicken. Not long after, Brave appeared and managed to defeat the chicken. After that, Yuri kissed him because he had saved her. The next day, Junko calls her father to ask about marriage. Her father said that Akuto is a follower of Koro. If Akuto marries Junko, then he must become a follower of Suhara. After that, Junko spoke to herself as if she was talking to him about their marriage. Shortly after, Korone appeared and took out a device so Junko could tell him about it. Not long after, Junko looked for Akuto, who was gathering with his friends. She only said that she asked him to take her home because her family wanted to meet him for political reasons. In fact, there had been a conversation about her marriage with her father without Akuto's knowledge. The anime continues with the headmaster talking to the man named Yamato Buichiro, who worked in the central cabinet, the leader of magic intelligence. Akuto recognized that the person was a member of SEMO 8. He offended Akuto, who was not responsible for the school's security level. Because currently, the activity of magical beasts increases when exposed to the long waves of mana energy emitted by the Mao. The next day, when Akuto was about to take Junko home, Miwa and Korone came. On the way, Junko blushed when Korone said about their marriage problems. Unfortunately, Akuto misunderstood it. He instead assumed that they were discussing magical beasts. He said he wasn't sure, but he still needed to be responsible for it. Hearing those words, Junko thought he agreed with the wedding ceremony. Arriving at the village, Junko's younger sister, who turned out to be Hishino Yuri, greeted them. Miwa didn't expect Junko had a sister who was a famous idol who he had saved from a chicken demon attack. On the way, Yuri said that Akuto's aura was like that of a magical beast. She then remembered the beginning of her sensitivity. When she was little, she was bitten by a magical animal that made some mana. Because of that, it stuck on her. Arriving at Junko's house, Akuto had a serious conversation with Junko's father. Akuto answered every question from him firmly and was impressed that he really loved Junko. At night, Akuto was surprised because their party for them was extravagant. He still hadn't realized that the party was being held for them. In the end, Junko finally realizes that he has misunderstood. Despite all of that, Junko still soaked and bathed as clean as possible. Soon afterward, she met Akuto, who was resting in the room. She politely approached him and took off her kimono. Seeing that, Akuto restrained her and told her not to push herself for the sake of her family. Junko asked if he had not realized the marriage discussion between them. Hearing that, he was shocked. She then apologized because she did not explain it in detail to him at that time. Akuto thought Junko didn't want to get married, and she was forced to do it for her family. On the other hand, Junko, who felt frantic, was crying because she had tried so hard for it. After she left, a group of ninjas peeked at the two of them came. Because of that, Akuto ran to the middle of the forest, but the ninjas still chased him. Eiko suddenly appeared and trapped the ninjas so they didn't chase after him. She invited him to go to her house, but Akuto refused. She says that Soga is currently in danger because her father caught her. Knowing the evil intentions of the Teruya family, Akuto immediately changed. Soon, Yuri appeared and was angry with Akuto because he had made Junko cry. At the same time, Korone and Miwa came to meet Akuto, but he had to leave immediately to save Soga and teleported to the academy. In the dormitory, Soga is celebrating her birthday alone. Suddenly, Eiko's father sent a snake demon to wrap around her. Not long after, Yamato Buichiro came and directly cut the demon. Then he attacked Eiko's father using his sword until he died. Soon after, a portal appeared in the dormitory, which turned out to be Akuto, who came to help Soga. Yamato Buichiro told about Soga's privileges and some of his plans to conquer God and control the universe by using Soga. Akuto said that he would liberate her will. At the same time, Fujiko came with several magical beasts that she had conquered to help Akuto. In the middle of the city, there was a messy atmosphere filled with Fujiko's magical beasts. Yamato Buichiro took out his sword to attack Akuto until his hand was seriously injured. The sword could absorb mana, so Akuto couldn't recover himself. Fujiko and Soga immediately took him to their dormitory to ride a magical animal. Arriving there, the principal was waiting for their presence and protected Akuto from the pursuit of Yamato Buichiro and told him to enter the academy. Soon after, he came and was confronted by the headmaster, who transformed into a burly man. Yamato Buichiro invites him to defeat Akuto. Fortunately, the principal already knows his evil intentions to rule the world and wants to have Soga, and he refuses. On the other hand, Lily came to meet Akuto. She tells the condition of the city, which is now filled with magical animals and troops from the Teruya and Suhara families. She advised him to immediately meet his dragon so they could fight together against the enemies. At the base, Eiko watched the condition of the city from the broadcast screen. She was surprised by the arrival of her father, who was seriously injured. Her father tells Eiko that Yamato Buichiro intends to destroy Suhara. Suddenly, Eiko stabs her father and takes Suhara's leadership badge. She felt proud that the badge was now hers. After that, a man named 2V, a member of Simo 8, came to talk to her. He reveals that he has the power to control puppets. He will ask the kingdom to send a plane that will attack Akuto and his dragon. On the other hand, Junko and her father are looking at the condition of the city from the screen. Her father said that Eiko had taken the leadership badge because Keizo, or Eiko's father, was killed by Akuto. Her father gave an inherited sword to Junko, namely Sohaya. Her grandmother came and said that she would give the sword to Junko. She understood Junko's feelings that were confused because she had a mission to kill Akuto. Soon afterward, the Kaga ninja troops belonging to the Eiko family and Junko's Iga ninja troops were ready. They were in one command in Eiko's orders. Since Yuri is a famous idol, the fight will be broadcast on television, so that the residents can watch the whole fight until the end. The arrival of Junko and Yuri was warmly welcomed by the ninja members and residents watching them from the television. While strategizing, Eiko was very jealous of the sacred artifact belonging to the Suhara family, namely the Sohaya sword that belonged to Junko. She looked cynically at Junko, but she was sure that she could have the sword if everything perished. With her devious mind, Eiko ordered Junko and Yuri, who would open the first attack without the help of the ninjas. Not long after, Junko and Yuri walked over to counterattack. On the other hand, Eiko spread the news that their counterattack was of their will. After that, Junko realized everything. While walking, Yuri was confronted by Brave in front of her, and he promised to protect her. When Akuto arrived at the cave, he announced his intention to work together to fight against the enemy. Knowing this, the dragon felt happy and excited because that was the moment he had been waiting for hundreds of years. The dragon said nothing could stop them once he and Akuto were in the sky. Akuto immediately mounted the dragon's body, then the two flew together towards the city. Seeing his arrival, Junko got ready, but she felt confused because Akuto had just passed her like that. Because of that, she realized she was not his target. However, Junko got orders from his father to kill Akuto, so she still had to approach him and attack him. When she faced him, Akuto pulled Junko's body to fly with him on the dragon. He promises that he will take care of her after his business is finished. Hearing that, she blushed and was confused about her feelings. Not long after, Brave came and directly injured Peter Hassan. Fortunately, the dragon was able to heal his wound quickly. During the battle, the dragon told Akuto that he was ready to die but not to lose. Suddenly came the military aircraft of the kingdom's pride, the Genkaku plane. Akuto and the dragon were shot by the plane repeatedly on the instructions of the pilot captain. Inside the plane's wheelhouse, there was the voice of someone saying that he wanted to gain full control of the plane. The captain and assistant pilot were surprised. It turned out that their pilot was a puppet controlled by 2V. Finally, the plane tilted and crashed into Akuto and his dragon. On the other hand, Yamato Buichiro remembered his past. Suddenly there was a black portal in front of him that depicted the events of 100 years ago. He saw that his girlfriend, Rimu, left him and chose to become Mau's girlfriend. Now he is very obsessed with Soga, who is very similar to Rimu, who differs only in their hair color. It turns out that he deliberately travels through time to find a figure similar to Rimu. Meanwhile, Lily was blocking the ninja squad led by Eiko, who was about to head to school. Lily revealed that Eiko killed her father because she saw it herself. Because the media covered it and the people became noisy, Eiko appeared in front of her and slandered her as one of Mau's henchmen who wanted to spread slander. Not long after, several other student council members came with their magical creatures to help Lily finish off all her ninja troops. Afterward, Eiko called Junko and asked her to attack Akuto and Lily. At first, Junko refused because she already knew her evil intentions, but Eiko threatens her with Yuri's safety and asks her to kill Lily. Forcibly, she had to carry out Eiko's orders to save Yuri. When Lily's army is surrounded by 2V puppet troops who ask her to cooperate with her, Fujiko appears. She immediately attacked all the dolls with her purple grenade until they were destroyed. At the same time, Genkaku's plane lifted with Akuto's thunderous scream. Hearing this, his friends were very happy because Akuto was still alive. After he was in front of them, Fujiko apologized for not being able to look after Soga, so she was taken away by Yamato Buichiro. After realizing that Soga had been kidnapped, Akuto invited the dragon to go after her. On the other hand, Eiko kept asking Junko to finish Akuto off, until Junko remembered her grandmother's words to use the sword according to her heart. After that, she raised the sacred sword, saying she had now sided with Mao. Junko gave the power of love through her sword to issue a light that made Aiko's troops all fall. Aiko is now alone. Junko raises her weapon and prepares to kill her. After that, Korone restrained her from killing Aiko because she had to lift to atone for all her mistakes. Shortly afterward, Aiko ran away, but her father appeared in front of her, so she was shocked. Residents who saw the incident on television looked boisterous because they knew Keizo was still alive. He said that he would not die before he could properly teach Aiko a lesson. On his way to find Aiko, Peter Hassan tells the story of Mao. According to him, the origin of the name Mao was due to the increase in the amount of mana in the body, but it seemed that Mao was only being used. Suddenly, Brave appears in front of Akuto and his dragon. Akuto explained that he only wanted to change the world order, but Brave still attacked him and fought in the air. In the middle of the fight, there was a warning from Brave's watch that his strength would dissipate and fall. Akuto immediately helped him. Seeing that made Miwa sad. After landing, Yuri realized that Brave was Miwa and she hugged him. After subduing the guards, Yamato Buichiro casually picked up Soga and carried her to the main system room. After that, he heads to the universe's control room and intends to sever the connection between himself and his destiny. Yamato Buichiro wants to rule the universe for himself. After the portal opens, Soga is possessed by Rimu, who says that in everything he does, the result will be the same, a failure. Not long after, Akuto came. Yamato Buichiro realized that his luck with women was indeed very bad. He hates Akuto in every way, then takes out his dimensional sword. If Akuto is hit, then his mana energy healing doesn't work. Yamato Buichiro managed to split Akuto apart but was fooled because the real Akuto was behind him. With a flick of Akuto's finger, Yamato Buichiro could be pushed away by his mana energy, projecting mana's energy into a shadow. The guard Suhara said that Mao is an existence that must unite with the identity, which is the reincarnation of Soga's body. But Akuto and Soga didn't immediately agree because his goal was to disrupt the center of the universe's governing network and kill him. Suhara's main guard activated a security system that made the universe governing tree rise to the sky. Akuto acted to break into the system with various attacks on the tree. Peter Hassan connected the wires to absorb the main system's energy and said that his dragon would remove the limitations of Akuto's mana energy system, so that Akuto could use his power to the fullest. The members opened a suction portal after seeing Peter Hassan, who managed to absorb Suhara's system. Akuto found it difficult because his mana was controlled by emotions. He hesitated to release all his strength because it would result in a huge explosion that endangered everyone. Peter Hassan sacrificed himself by aligning the powerful mana energy and detonating it so Akuto would survive. The dragon gave one of its fangs as a memento until Soga was unconscious and met Rimu. Rimu says that Soga is her reincarnation. She tells about Yamato Buichiro, who wants to control the universe. She wants to help Soga rewrite the story about Akuto so he can return to normal life. On the other hand, Junko was boarding a helicopter to go to the explosion scene. She smiled when she saw that Soga and Akuto were safe. After that, she said she would give up her ties with the Suhara family for Akuto's sake. She was surprised to see that the mana in Yuri's body had disappeared. Shortly after, Yuri tells Akuto that Junko loves him, but she is very shy. Finally, the two of them could unite, according to Akuto's promise that he would take care of Junko after his business was over. And Korone also said everyone's memories would be changed, except those with Akuto. Finally, they all lived normal lives. After that, Yatagarasu's examination was conducted again because Akuto wanted to prove that he was not a Mao. However, Yatagarasu still said that he is Mao, made the whole class commotion again. This is the end of the anime. The moral that can be learned from this anime is not to believe too much in predictions because it can create fake news that harms a person.